fellas. This is just another rant. It's gotten to the point, I've been diagnosed twice now with autoimmune encephalitis, which is funny. You think you get a diagnosis and then you get treatment, but that's not always the case, apparently. One of the doctors gave me steroids, and that was it, which they helped significantly, and I've said that before. The other one was going to initiate IVIG and said that I had autoimmune encephalitis, and then she portal messaged me saying that her attending basically said, no, we don't have enough evidence. So she took back the diagnosis. It was at that point I decided to get admitted to the University of Utah hospital, and I'm dying over here, guys. I'm fucking dying. I'm in a lot of pain. And when people hear pain, they're like, what do you mean pain? And it's like a difficult thing to explain, but it's as if I just like decode it, put it through the Enigma machine, or like whatever, and decode it so that other people can understand on some level what I'm going through. And so it basically feels like I have a horrible, horrible flu, and somebody is dosing me with acid every single morning. So I'm tripping on acid with a horrible flu all the time. And there are other components to it too, right? Like my thoughts are sometimes out of my own control, which I've come to learn to live with, but is not pleasant, and you never really get used to it. I was doing way better after corticosteroids, and then things had gotten worse, back to the point, almost to the point where I was before the steroids. So I got admitted to the University of Utah hospital because I was like, fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm too tired. I'm done. I'm just fucking done. So I asked to be admitted, and they admitted me gratefully. And they did labs, right? Before the labs even came back, this attending comes in with her little flock of sheep of doctors. And the attending says that I have a disease called FND, functional neurological disease, which is a psychosomatic disease, really. It's a psychological neurological disease where your symptoms are basically caused by an underlying emotional psychological component. So they are neurological in manifestation, but they are not neurological in origin, as far as I understand it. So that was not based on any labs or anything like that. They used distraction techniques to basically take away my tremors, like a fucking magic trick. And I wasn't impressed. I'll put it that way. And I asked her, how does my response to steroids play into a functional neurological disease diagnosis? And she said, placebo, that my response to steroids was placebo. And I was like, fuck you. That's how I felt. Because the person in my room, my dad, he was in there. He had seen me before and after steroids. That shit was not placebo. You don't get diagnosed, right? You don't get a medication that's indicated for a disease or disorder and have a response to it, and then get claims from doctors that it was placebo effect. That makes no sense, right? If you have an illness and then you provide the medication for that illness and you have a positive effect, you wouldn't say placebo. That's just lowbrow, dumb, low IQ logic. So I wasn't impressed by that whatsoever. I was also not impressed by my father. His channel's small enough where, he's not going to see this for a long time. Where he had been there the whole time, and by the way, at the hospital, I'm off my benzo, I'm off my antipsychotic. I haven't slept in 2 days, and I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, facing all these doctors by myself, and I hear nothing from the background from my dad. And I was like, what the hell? Like, stand up for me a little bit. I'm in a weak spot. Yes, I need some help. I'm tired of, honestly, I'm legit fucking tired of carrying the brunt of this load alone. And he was there, and he could have easily said, no, he had significant improvement after the steroids, because he made a comment after I had moved out of their house because the steroids helped so much. He had made a comment when he came to visit. He's like, "You guys look a lot better," you know. So he saw it, but when they left the room, he was all over it. He was all like, "Yeah, F and D's, I totally buy it," and like, we don't know how placebo works, so um, I wouldn't just dismiss that, and like, I would focus on the hope. They had written fndhope.org, and he was pointing at that, and it's like, I would focus on the hope aspect of this. And I was just like, it's not right. It doesn't fit. When it doesn't fit, you just look back across time. It just doesn't fucking fit. And it turns out it didn't fucking fit, because the next day I have high protein in my CSF, high intracranial pressure. I've had both of these last year in November of 21. It's been a long ass time, guys. I had this fucking webcam. I'm sorry. I had both of these elevated in my CSF last time when I got steroids. So we're back to whatever. We're back to the fucking drawing board. I have hypogammaglobulinemia, which is a deficiency in a protein or an antibody called a gamma globulin. I had that low in my serum and my CSF, so technically hypogammaglobulinemia is a finding on a lab. It's not a diagnosis, but I'm assuming I'll be diagnosed with it, because I don't really know what the difference is, to be honest. Anyway, the next day they come in and they're like, okay, so actually we found some protein in your spinal fluid, so like there's probably something else going on here. And I was like, no fucking shit, dude. And so they come up with, because I have high acanthocytes, mildly elevated acanthocytes, which is an abnormal red blood cell, I believe, or a certain red blood cell type that's like you shouldn't have too much of. And I believe they carry iron. This is beyond my scope. But because I had that, they suggested I may have a neurological condition, degenerative neurological condition called KPAN. And KPAN is a 1 in 1 million prevalency. 1 in 1 million. Autoimmune encephalitis is like 1 in 200,000. Now you include MRI negative and seronegative, and that data gets skewed a little bit. It could be, not as prevalent, and certainly more rare, but probably not quite as rare as 1 in a million. And so when I brought up the autoimmune encephalitis shit, I was like, what about autoimmune encephalitis? And he's like, I don't know, it'd be pretty unlikely. You need a MRI. You need an MRI with hyperintensities to verify that. I was like, yeah, but what about the literature that states that, demonstrates that you can have an MRI negative, seronegative autoimmune encephalitis, and that it certainly happens. He was like, yeah, it's true, but I mean, it's really unlikely. And so I'm over here sitting on the edge of my fucking bed thinking, we're dealing with the unlikely on the unlikelies. We're talking 1 in a million, or, maybe fucking, I don't know, including seronegative and MRI negative autoimmune encephalitis, maybe it's 1 in a million, two. Maybe, maybe each of these diseases are 1 in a million. I have no idea. There's no data for that. So we're dealing with the extremely unlikelies here. And I'm fucking sick of going in circles with these doctors. So I'm hoping to God that in a week from now, and I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't put so much pressure on a single appointment, but I'm in so much pain. That I hope the doctor in a week from now can get his grip on it and say, people hate the word autoimmune, but they can't come up with anything else. They can't come up with anything else. And KPAN doesn't respond to steroids, so I'm immediately like, I don't have KPAN, because I responded to steroids. Not to mention, KPAN's life expectancy of people with KPAN is not long. It's like 2 years or, less. And so I'm coming up on a year and a half now. It's been about a year and a half. So I'm doing pretty well if I had K-Pan. Um, I'm fucking tired, my friends. I'm getting fucking fat from the antipsychotic. I'm getting acne all over my face from it, so I'm well off the dating table. My sleep is absolutely abysmal. I wake up 12 to 15 times a night for no reason at all. And my dreams are just like fever dreams all night. So I have no rest or restoration from the hell that I'm living in every single fucking day. And I just want a doctor to care. I just want a doctor to use their brain and care. And I have to be careful because I can't push too much. Because if I push too much, then they think I'm biased and things like this. So it's like you have to go into doctor's appointments prepared to navigate it based on their approach and things like that. And if I wasn't in so much pain, it wouldn't be so bad. Like if I just had tremors and shit, like the functional neurological disease component, right? If I just had tremors and speech issues, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't care. Yeah, I'd be working on it, trying to make it better, but I really wouldn't care. But I'm in agony. I am in absolute agony. And there comes a point where like the agony loses its poetry, right? Because I used to say all the time, like, this is the hero's journey. And I'm still on it, right? But I don't feel it anymore. Now all I feel is pain. And I feel like I'm being dragged across the day by Satan himself across rocks and broken glass. And I no longer feel the beauty of the pain. There's like that. There's a clashing irony with pain where you can find beauty in it, or you can find meaning in it. And when you lose meaning, the meaning from the pain, and those are separated, it no longer becomes meaningful, and you lose your drive and you lose your will to live. Not saying I'm going to do anything, I'm just saying that's how it is. When it goes on for so long and it hurts so bad. Anyway, I have a lot of frustrations. I have a lot of frustrations with my dad. I think he's been all across the board. He thought it was the testosterone, then he thought it was a psych problem, then he thought it was a psych problem caused by a previous neurological condition, then he thinks some of my symptoms are from the medication, then blah, blah, blah. He's all over the fucking place, and he needs to see a fucking medical doctor. I'm like, how do you do your job when you have such an unscientific mind? And I've been charging ahead autoimmune encephalitis this entire time. Like from month 2, I thought it was autoimmune encephalitis. I've held on to that this entire fucking time. And then the response is steroids just validated that for me. And I was like grinding through sludge to get these doctors to pay attention and give me the medications that I need. And it's getting harder every day because I'm running out of fucking steam. And I said that a year ago. I said I was out of steam a fucking year ago. But it's just like the pain is so intense. It's so intense. It's enough to drive anybody up the wall, like a fucking crazy, wanting to smash shit and scream and all that stuff. It's like being in solitary. I would equate it to be like being in solitary confinement. That's what it feels like mentally. For 1.5 years, that's what it feels like. I've been in solitary confinement. I'm losing my mind. It's a brutal disease. I wouldn't really, truly wouldn't wish it upon anybody. If this doctor's an L, then I've got another doctor lined up. And then if that one's an L, then I've got 2 more, but they're fucking nobody cares sort of doctors. They're not important. They're not specialized. So I'm going to have to get more referrals. And I just hope one of these doctors helps. I really do. I fought hard enough. Like I've carried the load long and far enough to the point where I feel like I've earned the right to be cared for and treated. So I will do what I have always done, which is keep on fighting. It's just a little less meaningful than it once was. I feel like I'm being dragged across the day. Yeah. Anyway, I don't even know why I decided to hit record, but that's the video. Cheers, guys. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.